in many ways only true grassroots, citizens only group fighting absolutely and totally for student loan justice. We've been around since 2006. We've been featured top story in the New York Times and the Los Angeles Times and the Boston Globe, on Fox News and Newsmax, and everywhere in between. Suffice it to say, we know a few things. And I am here to tell you right now, folks, it is a catastrophically failed lending system. For the first 15 years of our existence, we fought very moderately the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. But at this point, folks, it is a catastrophically failed lending system by all measures. This pandemic is the nail in the coffin. So the solution to this problem at this point, at this very late date in the, I should say, maybe death cycle of this lending system, is twofold. We need bankruptcy protections returned to all student loans. That's a no-brainer. But more than that, this lending system has got to be taken to the bath and drowned in the tub. It's done. It's finished. It's toast. By all rational metrics and measures, this lending system needs to be ended, and something more rational, rationally priced, needs to be put in its place. So welcome. Spread the word about this group. And more than that, I should maybe add, we started the petition last year, almost a little over a year ago, calling for the executive, presidential cancellation of all federally owned student loans. This ignited the national conversation about canceling student loans by executive order. Very glad to report that we are so close to 1 million signatures today. And I hope that everybody out there will take it upon themselves to grow that petition. We should and could have something like 30, 40 million signatures on that. And I kid you not, there are 50 million, over 50 million, probably 55 million borrowers and cosigners in the country, where even before the pandemic, 80% of these people were never going to be able to repay their student loans. They were either in default, forbearance, deferment, delinquent, or otherwise unable to pay, or, and that's about 65 or so percent, or they were paying and paying and paying, and their balance was going up, not down, up. That's like 15%. So this lending system was failed before the pandemic. This pandemic is the nail in the coffin. Remember that petition, change.org/cancel student loans. And by the way, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw them out. I'm happy to respond to them if I can see them. If you're watching us on YouTube, unfortunately, this is in the past for you. If you want to catch us live, come to our group, facebook.com/groups/SLJ group. So, folks, today, the news, the swamp is fighting back. We knew they would. The part D's and R's do not matter to the student loan swamp. They play both sides, and really it's the unelected, unappointed bureaucrats within the Department of Education and many, many, many other think tanks and trade groups and other bastions within the Beltway who want nothing to do with student loan cancellation. They survive and thrive from this lending system, and it scares them to death to think of this lending system going away. This is a $2 trillion lending system, folks, and if you thought that it was going to go away quietly, please disabuse yourself of that notion. So today, for example, it was reported that a whole bunch of progressive think tanks like the Center for American Progress, the New America Foundation, the Institute for College Access and Success. These are all so-called, progressive organizations that claim to be fighting for the borrowers. Well, they put out a memo today, plotting and planning ways to get the citizens, us, the borrowers, to happily begin maybe not happily, but getting us to resume making payments on these student loans after the pandemic abates. So the repayment moratorium goes through, I think, the end of October. So in November, at least on paper, we're supposed to start repaying our loans. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen. Before the pandemic, something like 65% of all borrowers were not paying. During the pandemic, that is today, almost nobody is paying on their loans. Maybe 6, 7, 8% are paying on their federal student loans, but that's like almost nobody. Now, if you think that many or maybe even any people are going to resume paying on their student loans come the end of this pandemic and the expiration of the repayment suspension, you're wrong. You're just wrong. 80% of all borrowers were underwater now. We've lost 50 million jobs, and the claim is that 40 million of those jobs have come back. I don't believe it. I think at least 20 million jobs have been lost. And that 80% figure that I quoted, I think twice now in this broadcast, that's probably up to at least 85, if not 90%. But nonetheless, here we have these good guy think tanks like who I just mentioned, claiming to be fighting for the borrowers, but now we are seeing the masks are falling away from the swamp creatures who, when push comes to shove, they want to keep this lending system rolling over another generation of Americans. They've already wrecked the lives and livelihoods of probably 37, 38 million of the 44 million people out there with federal student loan debt. They want to keep that going. They love the control. They love the money. They love everything about it. And I can mention some other names too. People like Brookings, heretofore unbiased, sort of middle of the road think tanks in Washington, D.C., have come out squarely against canceling student loans by executive order. It frightens them, which is a good thing. We have touched a nerve with our petition. So everybody out there who helped grow our petition, and more recently, everybody out there who helped spread the word about the research that we just uncovered, which found that 19 of the 50 U.S. states owe more in federal student loan debt and private student loan debt than their entire state budgets. That all helps tremendously. So thank you for stepping up to do that. If you have not, if you've been sitting there waiting, watching, worrying, and doing nothing and expecting that other people are going to pull your weight for you, I hate to tell you, folks, but that is not going to get it done for us. We need your agency. We need your actions. This is your problem. This is your battle to fight. And we will lose if you do not fight. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. We've been doing this for 16 years now. And the one thing, if we've learned nothing else, we've learned that when you out there in the world don't fight for yourself, we lose. You know, the swamp is not strong. I mean, we the people, retain ultimately absolute and supreme power over this lending system. We could all decide collectively to stop paying, and the lending system would vanish into the ether. I mean, it's vanishing into a mist of illegitimacy as we speak, but you've got to fight. If we do nothing, the insulated swamp creatures that I just mentioned, and you can see the press release for yourself. It just issued today, the report from The Intercept that just published today. So if you Google, or maybe I will put the link to the article in the comments below this. But these people are not going down without a fight. These people will not go down without a fight. They would love to conquer and enslave us in debt. And there's no reason they wouldn't want to. I mean, they've done a heck of a job at it over the past 15 or 16 years. But folks, this is a new day. And I hope that you will not let yourself be lulled into a false sense of complacency and inaction, because there are some very smart, very well-resourced people in Washington, D.C., many of them So Forbes and Yahoo and CNBC and a lot of the places where we see a lot of reporting about the student loan issue come out. These people are joined at the hip with the swamp, the student loan swamp. So I would say turn away from them, but I know it's hard. I know, I get that. But folks, we have the truth on our side. We have 44 million people on our side in federal student loan borrowers alone. But getting the truth out to the country is the most important thing. So don't be scared by the swamp. There's no reason to be scared. But get ready to fight the swamp and don't expect anybody else to pull your weight for you. It will never happen. It's never happened like that. This is how democracy works. You've got to fight, which is why we are here, why we are doing. There, if you're watching on YouTube. In the 19 states affected, get that article to the governors of the 19 states affected. Get that article to both the federal senators and also the state legislators of those 19 states that I mentioned. I'm telling you, folks, this is huge news. The fact that Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, New Hampshire, Indiana, Kansas, Alabama, did I say? Tennessee, I think I said. I said, we're seeing a lot of resistance from certain mainstream media to reporting this. You know, we've had good luck with the media in the past. 60 Minutes, New York Times, Fox News, MSNBC, CNBC, all that stuff. Public television, public radio. But it's tougher and tougher and tougher because the Department of Education, the student loan swamp, and all the people that suck from that huge wealth, they're not weak. They have their hooks in deep with the media. So we've got to fight a little harder because remember, we are the pioneers on this. Your time. So just rewind this video and all the stuff that I said. Do it. I asked you. Do it because these are your loans and your problem. And this is the most efficient way for you to spend your energy if you actually want to find these loans gone for yourself, for the 50 million, 55 million people in the country with student loans, and for the tens or even going to follow in our footsteps. This is all about your actions, your agency. So good luck, folks. Godspeed. Oh, one very last thing. If you can donate at this time, it's very important. We survive and thrive on very nominal donations from very we don't need much at all to survive and thrive. Like a couple $1,000s a month is what we've been getting it done on. But we cannot do it on nothing, folks. We cannot. Appreciate all that we've done, certainly over the past year. All that we are poised to get done looking forward, hopefully in the weeks or months to come, not years, and hopefully not months, hopefully weeks. If you appreciate all the work that we're doing, please make a donation if you can. Go to the website, studentloanjustice.org/support. Peace, folks.